Hello, social media. Welcome to another episode of Tea Time Talk. I am JJ Hardy.
I'm Jessica Kovacs.
And I'm MK.
Love it. We're all here to talk to you guys about an interesting topic, mindset navigating change. So when we talk about mindset navigating change, we're talking about making sure that in your own mind, you are okay with taking micro changes, sometimes large changes, while you're trying to not only develop your business, but to grow your business. So does anybody else want to add a little bit to that? And then we'll just make it happen. I don't like to be the one that talks forever at the beginning.
Yeah, sure. This topic is really important to the three of us because we've had to, all three of us, make big changes and small changes within our business. And one thing that we have realized while talking with other business owners is that we all struggle with that, being okay when we have to pivot within our business. And sometimes it's a big change, like you're pivoting your whole entire vision of your business, or maybe even your business in general. Maybe you're just changing, like you're doing one thing and now you're going in a whole different direction. And that's okay. That's part of growth as a business owner. So this was a topic that was really close to all three of us and other people that we've talked to.
Yeah, I think one of the, as we're going through this discussion, one of the main topics to think of is patience. That's something that I'm learning through my changes in my business and the things that I'm working on. I'm doing a lot at once. So with, as I'm still trying to grow and I'm making all these changes at the same time, it is about, balance. It's about patience. It's about allowing yourself the time to grow, because the reason you're trying to go and changing is because you want better for what your business can offer and what you can do for your clients. So patience and balance are really important for you to take with you through that journey of mindset and change and, navigating all of that, and, making sure that you're doing it the right way.
And look, I'm going to say a hard truth. I know a lot of the audience that we're talking to right now, they are new and emerging business owners. Just because you have this wonderful, grand, amazing idea to go out and start a business, that doesn't mean that you need to be stuck in the way that you want to provide whatever service or product to the market. You have to make sure you are listening. So when you're having, maybe at first you're not even selling, or maybe you're selling a little bit and you're asking questions to make sure that you're doing a terrain analysis out there and finding out what the market needs, how to sell your services in a way that benefits your market, not in a way that you're stuck in before you go into business. Always making sure that you are adjusting fire. I'm a military guy, so I use weird terms, but when you are changing your site picture on a regular basis to make sure that you are meeting the needs of the customers and not just stuck in your own way and product and service and whatnot, then you're going to get stuck if you don't make change. And if you're not willing to change, that's just a poor leadership quality. Leaders adapt to change always, and they need to listen to the people around them.
I like, going along that, we have a Facebook user who stated having too little patience or too much patience can bury you. Balance is so important. And it really, truly is. You still have to keep moving. You still have to go and figure out what's next for you. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to hold off because I'm making all these changes. There is that balance. And I love that. And I think you're absolutely right that, you have to play that give and take through that change and finding what's working for you to continue to grow while you're making these changes. Let me just give you a perspective of where I am. I'm working on changing the the way I'm running my business, as far as like the offerings that I'm planning on providing, I'm going to still be doing a little bit of what I'm doing currently, but I'm trying to focus on more different situations and how I can support my clients. And while I'm doing that change, I'm still working the business and I'm still running. I'm changing my media. I'm changing my my outlook. So there's a lot of things that are moving along while I'm making these changes. It is the balance, and it's tough. I mean, I'm going to tell you, some days I'm ready to run, and I've got to stop myself and be like, you need to continue to walk, because that's a struggle.
I think like one of the questions, like especially since you're going through right now, that people should ask themselves is like, what is working for me and what change do I need to make? Because I mean, we like to think in grandiose pictures about direction. Like yours is a big change because you're like pivoting your offerings and what you're doing. Sometimes there's smaller tweaks, but it's like being aware of your business and really looking at it, as JJ said, from outside the box, because we end up putting ourselves in a box so many times, but looking at it from the outside of the box. So that way we can see, okay, this is working and resonating with my clients. Like this is working well and this isn't, because that will actually help you decide whether you need to make big changes or small changes. Because what you don't want to happen is you get so stale and stagnant that you end up having to close your business down 100% because it can't maintain itself because you weren't open to making those changes. So a lot of it really is our mindset, being okay with maybe we had this plan and sometimes there's more than one way to get to the same destination.
And if you think about it, if everybody's doing the same thing, you need to be different. You need to stand out, because then you're just pick one. So if you are trying to stand out and be something different, then you're providing, you're putting yourself a step ahead of what others might be. Yeah,
you're right. And one of our users here, he or she made a very, very interesting comment, and it's kind of to the point that I wanted to talk about anyway. So listening to your audience is so important. If you're not doing it for others, you're doing it for yourself, and you will fail. Well, that's very true. When I first started out, you have to be humble when you're trying to do business. And when I first started out, I was trying to offer only training on leadership stuff, which is and coaching on leadership stuff, which, when you get into coaching, life and everything else gets in the way. And so sometimes you have to venture out a little bit. But people would look at me and say things like, well, what I'm really looking for is somebody that can help me with this. And I'm going to be honest with you. When I first started, I was like, well, that's not really within my purview. But what I should have done is said, well, let's talk more about that. Because when you are starting and growing, you don't know what the market wants. Yeah. And I know I alluded to this earlier, but if you just go a little bit outside of your comfort zone just to explore a little bit more about that, they might not be the only person that has that issue. And if you help them and then you get a review from them, then somebody might read that and it might resonate with them. And then out of nowhere, you get another client. So just make sure that you're always keeping your mind open. And when it comes to mindset, just you gotta get out of your box, like Marlena was saying, and you gotta explore all the opportunities, because there are so many opportunities in business. And if you're an expert in your field, I'm sure your field is a lot larger than what you're trying to offer when you first jump out and go out on your own. So make sure that you are exploring everything within your expertise to make sure that you are offering what the world needs.
Yeah, I think that's and you never know, these individuals or these clients of yours are coming to you for your expertise. So, you by navigating, and I love that, JJ, because you never know what they're looking for may not even be the best solution. So it doesn't mean that you're denying them, but it could help you advance yourself in your role, in your business, to offer something that you might not even have thought of. Or, wow, other people out there that are having this issue, I don't suggest this path, I suggest a different path. Let's explore that for your business. And that might even be a way that it's a direction that you might not have thought of, that could propel your business.
Agreed.
Yeah. A lot of this is really just listening to what your business is saying, listening to what your clients and your audience is saying. And honestly, just being okay with those small adjustments, because a lot of times a little goes a long way. And just hearing someone out, even if you don't technically offer what they're asking for, like that itself goes a long way, because that can set you apart from the million other businesses that are bigger than you that have no time to listen to anyone. So it's like every little interaction you have with your clients or your audience in any kind of way will help direct you to a path that honestly is going to be so much better than what you even envisioned to begin with.
Well, and let's look at mindset. So let's take it all the way back to the very beginning. There are so many reasons that people don't even start a business to begin with. And those reasons follow people through the beginnings of their business journey. So they don't think they're good enough. Maybe all the things that they're trying to adventure are too hard. Well, when I could go on and on and on, but at the end of the day, you have to push outside of your comfort zone and reframing some of those negative thoughts, because I call them negative because they're going to hold you back. And they're not negative because they're bad necessarily. I mean, they're natural thoughts and emotions that go along with those things. But when you can reframe those things that are holding you back and just tell yourself a different story, change your narrative and move from I can't to I can, or maybe I'll try, or, this is going to be too hard to, well, let's explore that and see if it would work. There are many different things you can do to reframe a thought to make it so that you're okay with moving forward with something. But at the end of the day, that you have to be willing to try those things. And, there's my psychologist buddy, or he talks about this defectiveness schema. Well, it's this fear of failure, or this imposter syndrome that we have, that we're telling ourselves these things that doesn't make it true or make it real. We can change our narrative just by changing the way we think about anything. Mm-hmm. So just consider that, because if you don't, you're not a leader in your field anymore. You're probably going to end up going back to being an employee. And that's a really hard pill to swallow, especially when you're trying to go out and make something as an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Please just consider that.
Yeah, I agree.
I like that a lot. That's definitely something that I think, you already took the step to have the goal, or you've already took the step to have a business and you have that idea. I really don't think things are by chance. There's a reason why this was placed on you. So it's like, just do it. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? That you tried and that you did all that you could do and then it wasn't successful. In my mind, I'd rather try and fail until I succeed, because you will succeed somehow if you keep trying, than to not at all. And like every failure is a lesson for you to learn and get better the next time. So I really like that, because mindset really is everything in every aspect of your life.
There's a word that you use there that people, they take it so deeply to heart that it just stops them and it crushes them and it makes them depressed. And that's failure. Mm-hmm. I failed. Well, look, we talked about this in past calls, but we have to fail. We absolutely have to fail. And the reason we have to fail is because sometimes the only way to learn is to figure out what you're doing wrong. And sometimes that's expensive. I get it. Get over that. I mean, life is expensive. You have to spend money on just about everything. But when it comes to business, it's so important to try to build a community around your idea, even if it's just to have other like-minded people to talk to, because it's going to hit you. You're going to have that failure moment where you're like, I don't know what to do. And, the mindset around failure needs to be shifted to, it's not a failure and it's an opportunity. And I've been told that that's the way the that originated in China. So I'm not a communist by saying that, but I am going to go ahead and tell you that it's very smart to reframe that into an opportunity to learn something new. Because if you can not do well at something, analyze it, figure out what you did wrong, adjust, fire, adapt, and re-execute, and then stay consistent with that until you're successful, it will work.
Mm-hmm.
It
and
will.
Even successful businesses have to do that. If you look at any big brand out there, any big business out there, they are constantly changing and pivoting because the market is constantly changing and pivoting. So they're yeah, I mean, so you just have to be open to doing that. And even if it's a big thing, like that's okay. It's okay to need to change course. What's not okay is staying on the same course and expecting different results.
Yeah.
Sometimes though, you do have to stay consistent. I'm just going to say it because that's the way I feel about it. But this stupid social media game that's out there, it's all about consistency. It's not going to work today. It's not going to work tomorrow. It's going to work probably in about 5 or 6 weeks from now. And the numbers don't lie. So I really started posting heavily, in the past 3 or 4 months. I had 5 views on my stuff. I had maybe 1 comment, 1 like. Well, now I look back at my LinkedIn, and I'm on TikTok now, which I abhor, but I'm there. I'm getting 200-300 on one platform, and I'm getting 2,000-3,000 views on another platform. And when you look at that natural progression, if I wouldn't have stuck with that, then I wouldn't have gotten there. And by the way, even if you're not getting immediate business out of those things, it is still a win because now you're catching people's attention. So just social media in itself, learn it, use it. You don't have to spend all your time on social media, but it is a tool. There are other tools. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and use the SMART goal format. That if you don't know how to make goals, look it up, use it. You have to be able to make goals, figure out how to measure the results for those goals, figure out if it's something that fits in line with your overall vision, and move on. If you want to test, which you have to do in a business, and constantly make adjustments, the business model canvas is great. You're not going for lending, then making sure that you have all of your resources and every place that you go for your market segments and all that stuff laid out on a 1-pager. It works if that's the way your mind works. It's the way my mind works. I have a business model canvas right over here, and it helps me so much. Again, it's not going to help you with funding, so you have to go with the 4 or 5 page business plan if you want to do that. But you got to find the tools that work for you. Find the community that works for you. Your network is your net worth. Make sure that you're building that community, even if it means you're riding on the back of another community. We have a community. Just keep all of those things in mind. Find the one that works for you. Ours may not be it, but somebody else's might. You have to be around people that you're comfortable with and that you're able to talk to. I just went on a diatribe.
Well, something that you did say, though, I thought was a good point, because you said, being consistent. And I know it seems like what JJ and I are both saying are 2 different things, but it's really not. It's good to have a plan. And there are certain things within your business that you should stay consistent with. But there does come a point when you do have to have a hard look at certain things and say, okay, well, I've been consistent. And see, that's the thing, is knowing that. And like Jessica said earlier too, about the balance, is being able to say, okay, I tried and I've done all these different things and I've tried it all these different ways and I was consistent, but now it's not working. So now I need to pivot and change a little. So I just didn't want, because I feel like how JJ and I were coming off, we could have been taken like we were not in agreement. We are in agreement with all of that. It's just that different ways of saying it, that we're just saying that it's good to be consistent, but also recognize and doing hard looks at yourself and your business to make sure that you are getting the best out of the time that you're putting into your business.
By the way, Trina
years.
is one of the ones that helped me figure out social media. So I agree with everything she says 110%. You were going to say something though, Jessica. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. We talked at the same time and I lost it. It's okay. Come back.
Well, this goes right along with what we're saying. And I got to make sure we have one person that's actively watching right now. It's probably Michael. So I got to make sure. But I do self-reflection sessions, asking myself questions about my productivity and my happiness.
Yes.
You should do the same thing for your business.
Yes.
Listen, if you don't enjoy what you do, this isn't even as a business. If you don't enjoy what you do, you should be doing something differently.
Yeah.
You should be doing something differently, especially if you don't like it. Why would you go into business doing it? Because you're going to be doing it all the time and you're going to have people looking at you saying, no, I don't want to work with you on a regular basis. So you're going to be cutting yourself down and they're going to be cutting you down. So please do something that you enjoy.
But let me, and I agree 100%, but I think I want to add a disclaimer to that is that everything that you do in the business, no matter how passionate you are, no matter how into it you are, how you expert you are in that area, you are going to do many things you don't like, that puts you in an uncomfortable situation, that makes you step out of your box. And that's real. You have to look at it, like our Facebook, user. I hate that it doesn't show the name, but it's about reflecting. Is this making me happy overall? Because there's a lot of times, and it could be weeks, it could be months, that I'm like, what's going on here? Is this the right path? Because you question yourself. That's human nature. The imposter syndrome is human nature. You're put in that. Your body is providing you a defense mechanism to survive. And you know what you're doing. If you are going into this business and it is a passion for you, you have to be able to reflect on the overall happiness. And there are times where I have to do something where I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that, but it's part of my business and it makes me grow. And if in the larger picture of it, I am, happy, then I know I'm going down the right path.
And Jessica's absolutely right. But the overall concept of your business, the thing that you practice when you're working with other people, those things have to be something that you enjoy. That's what I was referring to. I would say most of the crap that's within operating a business by yourself. Why do you think all of these bigger businesses have marketing people? They have sales people. They have people to go out and build a website for them. They have people to do all of I'll call them eaches, because I like to call things eaches. It's the different minute tasks that you have to execute in order to make the overall mission a success. And when you have to do all of that yourself and you are learning as a brand new solopreneur, you got a learning curve, and the stuff is not always going to be fun, but you have to do the things that you don't want to do in order to get the desired result that you want. And if you're not willing to do that, that's a problem. And yes, Michael, I did see what you said. I agree with you. I didn't quite get to that yet. We're all passionate about this subject. He said, I just meant ask yourself questions about what's working and do what they want. I call it an AAR, an after action review. That's my analysis. Every time I execute something that's not working, I figure out what went right, what went wrong, what I can sustain. So what can I keep on doing? What can I improve? So what are some different things that I can add to that to make sure that I'm making those processes better? I agree. You have to do that. If you don't do that, whatever your format is for improvement, there's a planning process. There's all kinds of things. There's a 7 steps to problem solving. You can use that for doing your analysis, whatever the case may be. But you have to be taking a look in the mirror and reflecting back on what you're doing to make sure that everything you're doing gets a little bit better every day, even if it's only 1%.
And also it's important, like in your self-reflection, to know your hard lines. to set yourself up for success, and making sure that you're continuing to hit that, making sure that you are balancing your home life and your work life, and your work life isn't bleeding into your home life. That's important. You need to have hard rules about that, because as a solopreneur, it's very easy to have work take over your whole life, and that's not healthy. So and also just being able to reflect on yourself to know when it's okay, or when it's the right time for you to call in someone else to help you. And that could be a friend, another business owner, like a service. And it doesn't have to be something that's large. It could be something that you don't like doing and you're not good at, and it's sucking out the time that you could be productively spending on something else. That is something also to take in consideration when you're doing all of this reflecting and creating those lines and processes for yourself to check.
I think there's three, major pieces of being, ourselves in moving this. It's the heart, the head, and the gut. And I'm telling you, that gut is almost like in my world, I feel it's, the head helps me organize and gets me the ideas. The heart is, of course, my passion, but that gut will tell me whether I'm making the right decision or not. And it just depends on if I'm listening. And yeah. I'll tell you, if I can give you a quick, I don't want to go into details because, privately I would go into details, but when I first started, I had someone come at me pretty hard right out the gate. And I knew in my gut I was making the right decision. I knew I was making the right decision. And one thing that came at everyone around me, my family, my friends, they were like, oh, maybe you should change what you're doing because you don't want to upset. You're right. I don't want to upset someone, but I knew I was doing the right thing and I stuck with it. And 2 years later, I'm still here and I'm still moving and I'm still in the right direction because I listened to my gut. And I really think that's something, when it comes to imposter syndrome and making these changes and knowing what the right idea is, yeah, your head and your heart are going to tell you and try to guide you, but really try to focus in on what your gut is telling you. And if that's giving you weird vibes, listen, but something's going on to tell you what to do. I think, and, to everyone's point here, we really do push community. We push connections because you never know what somebody else might have gone through that they can help you with your situation. And, it's that community that's going to help you boost. And especially when you're having a bad day. You're having a day where you're like, everything's going wrong. I'm throwing in the towel. And then it's like, I reach out to my community, whether it's MK or JJ, I have others that are in my network, reaching out to them and saying, listen, I'm going to be vulnerable right now. Here's where I'm at. I found most, if not everybody I've talked to has either been in the situation or understands where I'm at. And we talk it out, and usually I walk away from that conversation going, yeah, I got this. And that's important. You can't do it. Really I just think find your ways of moving and growing.
Agreed. Yeah. Now we are about to wrap up, but before I give my closing comments and all the social media, share this, like this, blah 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 blah. Does anybody have any closing comments they would like to give to the audience?
Just change is inevitable. It's really important that you're open-minded for it. I like, the comments and the message about being, knowing your baseline, as even the Facebook user stated. And MK, you've talked about boundaries. Set those from the beginning. And if you haven't set them yet, do them right now. And say, I will go forward if this, and this, but this is a hard no. I will not do this, because that, is where your integrity is. And it's really important that you know who you are and what you need.
Yep. MK?
No, y'all said it perfect.
I agree. So just to kind of overarch everything and wrap it up, make sure that you're willing to adapt, that you push forward with any sort of objections that you may be building up in your own mind. Make sure you balance your ego with, what everybody else tells you with your gut. I think that's very, very important. Don't just change because somebody else tells you to. I think Jessica made the right decision when she said or she made the good comment when she said to use your gut, but to improvise and adapt and overcome and all these other things that we're talking about in this call, it's very, very important. So if this information that we put out today, if it resonates with you and it's something that you want your audience to hear as well, make sure you like it, subscribe to it, share it, repost it, comment below, because that's what keeps the conversation going. And make sure that you join our group. We have the Trailblazing Entrepreneur Alliance. It's our community. We want you to be a part of it because we feel it's a great support mechanism. And, you know, all the things we have going forward as we develop our JMJ business strategies, we just want to make sure that you are a part of a supportive community that can help you with all of the stuff that we talked about today and everything that we talk about in our calls.
Yep.
Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Every couple of weeks, we do a live stream. So hopefully you join in next time. Have a good day.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.